Hey, welcome to Ask Me Anything Live with Dragaholic. Today we have with us Serena ChaCha from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 5. How are you doing, Serena?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, all right. So today we're going to do things a little different than we have done in our past events. We're going to start out with about a 20-minute Q&A session where I'm going to ask Serena a bunch of questions and drill her. And then after that, we're going to go into a 40-minute Q&A fan session. So if you do have any questions, you can send them to us now on Twitter at Dragaholic News. Before we get going, I do want to give a huge shout out to Shooting Star Management, who helped set up the event today. You can check them out and book Serena through Shooting Star Management, and their web address is shootingstarmgmt.com. All right, and Serena, you're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Where else are you?
All the social media. And in Fort
Everywhere.
Lauderdale, so am I. You can come see me personally.
And where do you perform? Where are you performing right now?
Right now, I'm actually not performing. I don't have a home club right now. The last show I had was at the Manor right here in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, so you're in Fort Lauderdale if people want to
Right
see
now,
you
I'm
locally.
performing making wigs. That's as many shows as I've been doing lately.
All right. So I've got a couple of questions to start things off. And just a real simple question for you is how have things changed since your time on RuPaul's Drag Race? How's your life changed?
It's definitely taken a 360 turn, you know. I think you were definitely put on the map once you step on that platform. Everyone, the whole world sees you. I like to say I was actually born when I went on the show, not before the show.
Well, your makeup's evolved so much since then. You know what? In terms of your makeup, how did you learn all these new tricks? Because you were on the show 2 years ago, and your makeup has improved tremendously.
Wow, I can't believe it's been that long. Thank you so much for that compliment. You know, I'd have to say what not many people know is I was always working as a makeup artist since I was 19 years old. So I think the evolution just hit as I have all the exposure, after being on the show, and it just happened to all fall into place. And it's all,
Definitely.
as judging by the type of experience I had on the show, anything from there is a huge improvement.
Did you pick up any makeup tips from anybody from your season?
Actually, I pretty much picked up tricks from everyone. I makeup shop as I'm watching other girls in the back getting dressed.
Yeah, so I know you've shared a bunch of the techniques you've learned on your YouTube channel through your cha-cha time. Are there any tips you have right now that you can share with people who are watching?
Yes, I think the best, most of the questions I get usually is what I use for brow cover. And I think everybody should prepare their makeup kit for Halloween this year, and it's called Prosade. It's a cream. It's a cream adhesive. You can glue anything, but for gluing your eyebrows down, you can dance for hours, and your makeup will stay put.
So you don't use the typical Elmer glue stick that a lot of people
Layer some of it
use?
over, definitely, but that's the main element there to really hold your brow hair down.
Good. All right. Good. So one of the questions that I'm curious about is on one of the Untucked episodes, you got in a pretty heated argument with Detox and Coco Montrese. Since
Bringing
since
me.
that since that episode of Untucked, have you spoken to the two, and how has your relationship evolved?
We're greater friends. I should actually show you my phone. Coco just texted me this week. She says I should go back to Vegas, and she wants to buy hair too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So Wigs,
He's
you're
married.
posting all the time on Twitter and Facebook about
We're
wigs
sending
you're
each other
creating.
so much love. It's incredible.
Right
Except for
now,
he's married.
what was that?
I said except for he's married. And then yeah, Detox and I get along a lot. Actually, she was last time I saw her, we were doing stuff with Logo, and we caught each other in the back in the dressing room. She's really sweet, very very sweet. You know what happens is when you're back there heated. You've let's be honest, you've been taped down for hours at this point. Things get heated, and you're already in an argument without even knowing it. So you have to get yourself out of it. Whatever that takes.
Yeah. So there's been, because of the edit that you did receive on the show,
Was
a
that
lot
an
of
edit?
people.
No, that was reality.
Well, yeah, yeah, but
Reality
also
TV.
it was. Excuse me. So you were edited. Well, you were. I shouldn't say edited. You were shown as, a little. People kind of had a negative feeling from that whole experience. So how did people react to you, and how have things evolved and changed since being on the show with fans seeing you live?
I think people have actually rather embraced, the big mouthed little queen, and I think, everything I express myself with, it's got a pretty good argument behind it, even though people might not understand it. But I can speak for all the young upcoming queens. They're pretty embracive, of my character.
How has your character changed since your time on the show?
I try to shut up as much as I can before I speak. And I'm thinking, and then I try to talk after. Because if I spit as soon as I'm thinking, it's not gonna be good.
How old were you whenever you did the show?
21.
21. So you were right
Still
there.
21.
You're still 21.
Yeah.
So it seems to be a common trend with young queens on the show, because I believe Fifi O'Hara was, I don't know if she was 21, but she was young as well. And Tyra Sanchez was, I know she was 21. So do
I
you,
have a blend of both. The new wouldn't be new if you didn't have us around.
yeah, definitely. But I'm curious if you think that maybe a lot of people who are younger get, this bad rep because they don't think about it. And maybe if that's a tip for future people.
I think it's a bad habit in the youth, definitely. I'd have to admit. But it's something you can only control with experience.
Yeah, definitely. And you got thrown into an experience that, you had to learn.
Oh, I was thrown into the sharks.
Did you
Oh.
have any negative fan experiences after that?
Well, the social media hate and the bullying doesn't ever stop. It doesn't have an expiration date, unfortunately. But we deal with it. That's why
Yeah,
we put work out there. We can't expect everybody to like it. That's the bottom line.
yeah, that's true. Especially because I'm sure whenever they rebroadcast an episode from season 5 that you were in,
I
you
always get a
probably.
message from my friends. Oh, we just watched it. We can't believe what am I watching? I said.
um, let's see. So I have another question for you, and it's basically it's as I said, it's been 2 years since you were on RuPaul's Drag Race, and what are you doing differently now, and what new techniques have you learned from makeup to costuming and everything in between?
Well, I think I'm being more secure about myself. Is the only thing I've been doing differently.
Oh,
You're exposed to
oh
such a.
no.
You okay? Everything okay?
Yep, you froze for a minute, but
Did I?
you're good.
Okay. Am I good?
Yep, you're good to go.
Yeah.
So,
The only different thing I've been doing ever since is I think I'm more secure of my attempts. Whether what the outcome is, you can't be worrying about how good it's gonna turn out. You just have to do it. Otherwise, you'll never know.
do you
From
have
there,
any?
I've been looking at pretty much every other drag artist out there to see what they're doing and kind of borrow ideas here and there and shape myself into something better.
Is there anyone in particular who you take a lot of influence from?
Yeah, Lanisha Sparks is a great artist. She does everything herself.
Yeah, she makes all of her costumes,
Oh my,
correct?
he's phenomenal.
Yeah, I actually noticed with the makeup change that you've had that it does seem to have some influence of Lanesha. Has she taught you anything?
It's funny, I've never learned any makeup tricks from her, but I think it's just It's like that sort of standard that people have for the Latin queen visually. You know, it gets to a certain point where you wear a certain type of makeup, and you fit that mold, and you start, relating one queen with the other. But no, I pretty much played myself with makeup, or like I said, at work, working as a makeup artist also.
So outside of drag, you work as a makeup artist then?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So that has really
So
helped you evolve as well?
say what?
That has helped you evolve as well and taught you some new things?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, working for this makeup line, they're pretty, what you say, on top of the line, and what the trend is makeup wise. And you actually
Okay,
get
well,
into real life, not just the drag world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, aside from makeup, I mean, one of the biggest things that I've noticed has changed is your wigs. And I see you posting on Facebook quite often, wigs that you have for sale. So this is something that you're doing, right? You're making and selling wigs?
I'm actually custom making wigs myself for other drag queens, and it's turned out really well. So if you haven't purchased your wig for this year's Halloween, you can order one. You can email me directly.
What's your email address?
My email address, you can email me at makeup@myronmorgan.com.
All right. So, and can they look? Do you have photos and everything of
Yes,
your wigs,
see
or
everything on my Instagram, and actually I just posted a wig that I made in honor to Elsa from Disney. What's the name of the movie? Frozen.
Frozen? Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to say the piece is beautiful.
A long white
As good as it's
braided
going.
piece.
Yeah, long white braid, beautiful.
Do you do? Speaking of, Disney and movies and such, do you do any impersonations, or have you picked up anything like that since?
Impersonations? You know what? Actually, not. I think Serena is pretty much of a persona as it is. I would say the closest I get to is dancing, to a Beyonce dance routine, but not quite impersonating another artist. You can go see them in concert.
So whenever you're live, are you more of a dancer then? Like Beyonce, or are you more of a ballad queen?
No, dancer, full on throttle. The day I wear a dress, I better make that money to make it right back, to pay right back for it.
So then do you have a dancing background as well?
I do, I do. I studied dance while I was in school.
Ah, you went to Florida State University, right?
Yes, I did.
You got a degree in dance and what
Yeah, I got a
specifically dance?
BFA in painting and performance is what I got.
Oh, okay. And
But
so it kind of,
I had an array of freedom there to do whatever I wanted with my degree, so I focused in every other art. Needless, I didn't know I would end up in drag until I realized that it was such an outlet for all those things I had been practicing for so long.
it's the perfect combination, right? Makeup, dance, and
Clothes, you name it.
clothes. Yeah, so, well, here's a good question for you. So, the episode you were eliminated um, from RuPaul's Drag Race, you were wearing um, some sort of German, like, lederhosen type outfit. Um, so, one, do you
Are
still
you talking
have
about
that
the feather
outfit?
costume?
What's that?
Are you talking about the feather costume?
The green and blue
Oh, yeah.
costume.
Someone said I skinned the Muppets.
One I want to know, do you still have that and do you ever wear
That thing didn't even make it back from Los Angeles to Florida.
it?
So we don't talk
and,
about that outfit very much.
and have you been making any outfits since?
Yes, I have. I promised myself I would end up in the machine. So look out for this Halloween. I'll be posting a lot of new work.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, made
Definitely
all by
excited.
myself.
Okay. And how has that worked out for you? Have you been creating some really great pieces?
Listen, whatever the hot glue has allowed me to do, that's as far as I've gotten so far. So we'll see once I get to the machine.
So you're just hot gluing, you're not sewing
Why
yet?
not?
No?
No, if
Do,
it's already made, all you do is you put stuff on top of it. It's just so time consuming.
well, in hot glue you can basically make anything that you can sewing, right? Just quicker. Is that how, I know you said you take a lot of inspiration from Lanesha. Is that what she does? Is she hot glues?
No, she does all of it. I actually witnessed her making an outfit, and I was disgusted because mine hadn't come in the mail yet. And she probably in the time that it took for my dress to get to our hotel, she could have made me another one. But you get inspired, and it motivates you to kind of put your hands to all your work. You take even more pride in it eventually.
So is that what you're doing in your spare time? Is you're learning
Learning new tricks and
fashion?
things I haven't been able to do. I didn't have time to make my own hair before,
How
but
long does it take? How long does it take you to make a new hairpiece?
about 3 hours.
3 hours. So is that an evolution? Have you gotten from a shorter time or a longer time? Excuse me.
Well, let's just say before I didn't even have hair that was long enough for me, so it's definitely been an evolution. But the time I always give myself 3 hours, whether I'm done earlier or later. It's kind of the average time. Because people
Okay.
usually order the hair and then they like the style and the texture, but sometimes they want a certain shape with the hair. So once it's all put together, styling too takes a little longer. And that's what's awesome. You get to not only order this hair and then you have to worry about what you're going to do with it. You can actually just get the hair done on and receive it just on a mannequin head and put it right on.
Okay, so if someone is located in California or New York, and since you're in Florida, do you do shipping and
Yeah.
delivery and all of that?
Yes, I do.
All right, great. Well, we've got a couple minutes. I'm going to go ahead and transition now into the fan questions. So for anybody who's watching live, if you have a question for Serena, you can tweet them to me at Dragaholic News on Twitter, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. We have a lot coming in already, and we have questions that we collected before the event. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into that right now, Serena. And the first question, just to start things off a little fun, came from, sorry for the name, but Reddit user Penis Delight.
Penis
And
delight.
yes,
Awesome. I
exactly.
want to know what he said.
he well, we'll start it off with a fun game, like I said. He wants to know in the game Marry Fuck Kill. You know that, right? Or Fuck Marry Kill. Who would you marry? Who would you fuck? Who would you kill?
Oh,
Of these
never
three
played it, but
people.
let's.
So your three choices are Magnolia Crawford, Tammy Brown, and Kelly Mantle.
I have to answer this.
Who would you marry? Who would you fuck? And who would you kill?
First of all, I wouldn't kill anyone. Um. Oh my God, what a hard question. Okay, give me all three names again.
Magnolia Crawford, Tammy Brown, Kelly Mantle.
I would. Oh God, I can't. This is gonna put me in such a bad place. Can I just tell you who I would fuck?
All right, go for it.
Kelly Mantle.
Now you have to tell us why.
No, you don't get the why. That's enough. That's as bad as it is.
All right. Excuse me. So here's another fun question to keep it light and airy. During the same heated episode of Untucked, you were told by one of the queens to go and read a book. So,
No, I said one of the queens. Is that what you mean?
what's that?
Is that what you mean? I think I told that to somebody. No.
You told someone to read a book?
Mm.
Okay. Angela Visalia on Reddit wants to know what's the latest book you've read?
Tell them I haven't read a book since I graduated college 2 years ago. Of course, when you're straight off of college, you think you're the smartest person in the world, so you're gonna think everybody else around you is dumb.
All right, good, good. Um, so, a couple more questions we have coming in on Twitter live right now. Let's see, we've got Alex Powers, and he's at Florida State University right now, and he wants to know when will you perform at Florida State again?
Actually, I wrote to them. Tell them you should do me a favor, knock on the door of Price Student Union. Tell them I want to come back. I miss school.
You can tell him right now, he's probably watching.
Hey, Alex, tweet me, and we'll tweet them together.
All right, so someone had a follow-up question.
Okay,
I don't
awesome.
know.
Don't tell me we're still talking about that.
No, it's a personal question about Linacia Sparks, but I think I'm gonna skip over that one.
No, do it.
You wanna answer this question? All
Don't
right,
say
it's from
this.
it's from Drawing Gamer on Twitter, and he wants to know: have you seen Linacia Sparks naked like you wanted, and was it what you expected?
OMG. You know what? I love Puerto Ricans. That's all I have to say. We're usually together a lot, so I
You've
have
worked
to.
together with her?
You know? I,
You've worked together with her a lot?
Here's the thing: when you're in a state of mind of drag, what happens is you're not really thinking about that, but sometimes you can slip out of it. Sometimes we go to these events and we stay together, in the same hotels and even in the same rooms. Is he a hot boy? Yes, he's a hot boy.
Yes, oh, I agree. I've seen him a couple times in and out of
You've
drag.
seen it too?
What's that?
You've seen it too?
No, 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 no. I've seen him.
Okay.
I haven't seen him down there, but I've seen him
You've
in
seen
person.
him. Okay, got it.
Exactly. So we have a question about. These are really good questions that we had on Reddit. This one is from Abortia Clinique um,
I have Borsha Cleveland.
on Reddit. She wants to know which queen inspired you the most during your time on the show.
Oh my goodness gracious! My biggest inspiration was Ms. Raja. I had
Mm,
such an admiration, and I still do for her. But back then, she was the person I could relate the most. Her artistic approach and her her work is full of strong artistic content that I could relate to. Being in art school for so long.
yeah, definitely. She takes a lot of art and puts it into real
Yes,
life.
and we're sending her out some hair soon, so look out.
Are you working closely with her at all to take any, tips and learn anything?
Actually, we just hung out last time she was in my city, but it wasn't about learning. I think it was mostly about reinventing my life with her. You see your once little sister meets big sister, it's like chemistry.
Definitely. She's got amazing outfits, so I'd love to see you in something inspired by her.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay, so since here's from Abortia as well on Reddit. She
By
was
the way, can
curious.
you ask Abortia where her screen name came from and what it means?
This is on Reddit, so maybe if she's watching Abortia, tweet us and let us know at Dragaholic News. Abortia Clinique.
Abortia, please tweet us.
She
We
wants to
want
know, because you were eliminated before the Snatch game, if you had made it to that challenge, what character would you have played and why?
had I made it to the Snatch game, who would have played? Miss Sofia Vergara. I would have loved to play her.
Mm. Do you have wigs and everything and outfits?
Yeah, and I have a big old butt too. I can put on to look like her.
Can,
She's a true Latin icon, and she's the closest thing to reality TV right now, and American television. She's super recognized, so it would be an honor to get to
yeah,
impersonate her once.
she's fairly big. Is she Puerto Rican?
She's Colombian, actually.
Colombian.
But she
Okay,
looks like
so
she's from many Latin countries.
um, let's see. So the next question we have comes from Ice Joker on Reddit, and he wants to know, how have you grown as an artist since watching yourself and seeing yourself on season 5?
How have I grown? Well, as an artist, the reason why we document our work is to eventually get to critique it after and improve from it and learn from it and generate even better work after. I think the biggest wake up call has been jumping into a commercial, artistic side rather than museums and fine arts, which is what I was doing before. It's kind of a slap in your face, because you really see how much artistic value is appreciated in real world. And once you go mainstream, it's about hair and makeup. The paintings can stay on the wall for a little.
So do you feel like you haven't been able to stay true to yourself?
No, totally. I feel like myself. You know, I don't think anything changed. You rather you adapt. You know, to these environments.
You adapt to what people want to see.
Know what I want to show people. But I guess you know, I kind of make an agreement with them.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
give a little bit of what people want. Um, all right, so let's see. We have a couple questions coming in on Twitter from somebody named Joey Cumley, and he wants to know his first question is if you could have been on any other season, which season would you have chosen to be on and why?
I wouldn't have picked out any other season than my own. You know, they said we were the prettiest crew, so I would just get back on the same one.
Were you overall, if you had been given the chance, this is a question that came in on Reddit, if you had been given a chance to be on a later season than the season you were on, do you feel like you would have been able to perform better and given more time with where your makeup and everything is
Absolutely,
now?
absolutely. I think with the progress I've made so far, I could be ready for a season 8 for sure, or 7. Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, yeah. So, kind of in the same area, people want to know about All Stars. If you were chosen to be on All Stars, one, would you go? And two, if they did partners, who would you be partnered with?
Yeah, of course I would go back. I mean, are you kidding? That's like the RuPaul girl dream right there to go back on their Mount Dance series, you know. And I think you know mostly it's the popular queens, but why not the most improved ones, you know?
Do you think they should do a season for like a redemption season for queens that
They-
got eliminated in the first half?
Yeah, they should totally do a redemption series. That would be awesome and show the before and afters.
Who would you put into it?
Who would I what?
Who would you put in alongside of you? A couple of queens.
Don't make me say it, but let me just tell you, I'd pick the winner myself. But you know, who I would pick as my teammate it would be Lanisha. You know, we spent so much time together. I can only imagine what we could do, you know, as partners. Team
Yeah,
Serena, people used to say. Doesn't that sound cool?
what was that?
Team Serena is what people were saying.
What is Serena? Is that the name? The
Both our names
combination?
together, isn't that cool?
It sounds like a new drag name if you guys had a
Right?
drag baby together.
Right? I don't know, maybe we'll have a daughter named that. Who knows?
All right, we have another question, and this one comes from James Orlando Garcia, and he says you were on the drag cruise. I guess there was some issues that had happened with, and not everyone was so congenial. Um, I, let's see. The question is, he wants to know is basically, have you been working, since the show, I guess, to change your attitude? It's kind of a weird question. It's not a very nice question.
No, it's okay, but I'm confused as to why it's in regards to the drag cruise. Here's what
Well,
happens. You know, when we're put on a ship and you have to do drag on a ship, the best time to meet a queen is at a club show when you know we do 1, 2 shows. We're there, we're leaving, we're hanging out. But think about it, we're in a cruise for 8 days working, and you know I think that it could come across sometimes. People can get the wrong impression from us, you know. But if
do
you go
you,
on cruise, just hang out with us after the show. It's better anyway.
so whenever it comes to, hanging out with fans and stuff, do you find that there are a lot of queens who maybe get a little reserved after the show or outside of performance and they don't want to hang out with the fans?
I don't know. I remember hanging out with everyone at the cruise. I don't think I isolated myself from any group, but I don't know. I can see how some other girls could have, you know.
Well, it's hard to be happy 24/7, right? With everyone coming up to you.
I would say, but you can, you don't have to smile to be nice to someone.
Yeah, there's been a lot of kind of stuff going on with the cruise and Queen's not going this year for the first time. So I don't know all the details behind that, but are you going this year?
No, I'm not going this year, but there's so many good offers. I would go.
Yeah.
Not this year, but I would definitely go.
Okay. All right. So, oh, Joey Joey Cumley said he just wanted to say abortion clinique. Her name sounds just like a abortion clinic. So,
Oh my God, I love it.
so
That's actually. It sounds like if you were to go to Clinique to buy makeup and do a return. I'll go. Ask Clinique, I don't like this makeup. Bring it back. That's what I was thinking. But I get it where it comes from now. That's an
um,
awesome name.
Here's a good question. Kind of going back to the bullying on social media question or
But
the
that's
answer
a
you
topic.
had earlier. Um, this comes from Bullying Help on Twitter, and they want to know: were you ever bullied as a kid for being who you are? And if so, how did you deal with it?
By the way, what's the name of the account?
It's Bullying Help underscore.
Bullying help. Everybody who's listening to this right now, go and follow them. That's awesome that somebody created an account to look out for people being bullied. That's really awesome. First of all, um, as a kid, I was never victimized. By the way, I was rather celebrated. Two, I really had a protective mother, so super, super protective. So I never was around any negative or negativity, let me say, for the way I was. And I always try to do things in a way where, not throwing things in people's faces, which is when I think when you're little, it can get a little confusing. But I always stayed happy, and I never try to make it awkward for anybody who was around me.
Yeah, so in school you didn't have any issues with bullies or anybody picking
No.
on you for.
Nope.
Did you come out while you were in school?
Yeah, I came out when I was 15. And it's crazy because coming from a Latin culture is such a big deal. Once I told everyone here, everyone's like, "Oh, we already knew." The girls that I've been, hanging out with every day, and guys that I was hanging out with every day. But
So
God bless America for that.
your school was pretty open and accepting to it then.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
good. That's good.
it's cool, when you're little and you come out in front of your peers. I don't think you realize the responsibility that comes with it. Eventually, you're gonna be known by it and singled out by it. So it's up to you to make it a negative or a positive.
Yeah, definitely live it
Which
the
I
way
knew.
that.
My thing was always, well, if I was gay and I was so expressive and femininity was such a part of me, I put myself in environments where that was celebrated and accepted, where it never bothered anybody. So theater, dance, all that stuff. I wasn't playing football while wearing a pink shirt.
So you found kind of your tribe, as RuPaul says in school.
Yeah, of course. I always, since day one, I never, if mom wanted me to go play soccer, I said no, I want to go dance.
Okay.
So you
How
know,
were
I
your
was
parents? How were
what?
your parents with it, accepting whatever?
I've been blessed with the two most amazing parents in the world.
Good. That's good to hear, especially as you said from the Latin community, which can be, conservative and religious. So good, good, definitely. All right, so kind of moving on. Let's see. We have several questions as well. Here's a good one. Going back to the fact that you're from Florida State University. Um,
Go Seminoles.
exactly. And this is from Baked Ham 4 on Reddit. And he wants to know, as a current Seminole, I have to know, when you went to Florida State University, what were your favorite bars and clubs?
Oh my gosh, I graduated FSU in 2012. I was there from 2008 to 2012. What was my favorite place? Oh my God, my favorite club was actually Club Publix, the one that's right by all the frat houses. That's what it was like a club. You would go in there. The amount of attractive men was, oh my God.
All the frat boys to stare
Boys, I
at.
lived there. Yeah, I lived like 2 minutes. I could walk and do grocery shopping. That was my favorite place. Actually, was really. I mean, and then other than that, drinking was Brothers, which is now called Rehab. Yeah, that's the club. That's the gay club they have over there now. That was the best place. The only gay party we had Fridays. So if you wanted to see who was gay in school, you had to be there on Fridays.
Ah, so you could see him around campus and know who to talk to?
Totally.
Well, going off of that, Baked Ham 4 on Reddit also wants to know, do you have any funny stories from your time at Florida State?
The first time I went out and dragged one of my girlfriends, I said I would never do it. Like I said, I don't put myself in that kind of situations. I'm not going in drag to a straight club. I know what's going to happen. Well, guess what? I get hit on as soon as I walk in. I was so nervous. Not to mention, I wish somebody could have edited what I wore to this club because I look like a prostitute. Like white boots, a jacket, long prostitute hair.
Well, it was the first time in drag, right?
And then I'm thinking, yeah, and I thought the whole time he thought I was a girl, right? Oh my God. I was faking this stupid little voice. Hi, how are you? 5 drinks later, he tells me I've known this whole time. Turns out the guy wasn't hitting on me, which was stupid. There I was thinking, oh, he's hitting on me because I look like a girl. I said I would never do it again. Oh, God.
So what happened? He was just buying you drinks?
No, I buy my own drinks. Never let a guy pay for your drinks at a club.
Did he take you home?
No. Never. You didn't do that before.
You don't do that?
No, that was the next day. I couldn't have anybody over.
Ah, okay. Were you living in the dorms?
What?
Were you living in the dorms?
Actually, no. Only my first semester in college, I lived in the dorms. I had to get out of there. I couldn't live with 3 or 4 boys in the same room. It's like no, I could never do it.
Do you have any stories about those fraternity boys that you were talking about?
Yes. All I'm saying is, if you're gay and you have a lot of girlfriends, join a frat. You want the girlfriends, you want the boys. Who cares?
The more they drink, right?
Not even these days. But those Seminoles on that note.
I have personal experiences that I can relate to you on that. So, but I'm going to leave it at that because this isn't about me. This is about you.
No, but we would like to hear them, I'm sure.
We can chat one-on-one and have a kiki afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Jack of Daniels on Reddit wants to know. He said, it's kind of long, so he says, I actually think your comment about Panama was on point, and it is an extremely popular place for Americans and Canadians to retire. I think it was your delivery which made you look like you had a stank attitude. But that aside, he wants to know if you have gotten any love from Panama.
Actually, if there's one person, place, or thing that I had to thank for ever since I started this whole thing would be back home in my country. They've opened their doors on their media, TV shows, the news, and they are so receptive and supportive to have somebody from their home, succeed out in this drag movement, which is really a cultural movement that's happening right now, and me being the biggest representative from there, they're really appreciative of it. And once I make the Panama comment, when you're in a place like that and you're really secure about the place you come from, it's the first thing you're gonna talk about. And yes, it is one of the #1 retirement places for Americans, and it's beautiful. And simply because, down there we have our currency is the American dollar is what we use mostly. So I think everybody's
really?
good there. Yeah.
You don't even have to exchange your money.
You don't have to exchange your money. Yeah, you can really see your money stretch when you're down there. But it's a beautiful place, and I'm really thankful to everyone over in Panama. They love Serena ChaCha down there.
Good, good. All right, so we've got about 20 minutes left. I just want to interrupt and say to anybody who's watching, if you have any questions, you can tweet them to us for Serena at Dragaholic News on Twitter, and we'll
Please,
try to get to
please.
as many questions as possible. So we've got exactly 20 minutes left, and we still have a bunch of questions to get through. So let's see what we got next. Let's see. Okay, this one is from Chris Desmet on Reddit, and he wants to know, do you feel that the way you were portrayed on your season of RuPaul's Drag Race um, caused you to strive to prove people wrong about you?
Wow, that's a good question. I'd say what's probably impulsed me to do better work every time is my own judgment, to consider what's best and what's better fitted for my character and for Serena's character. But no, I mean, I would look back into it, and I think it showed a definitely a side of me that's very true. But I don't feel like I have to prove people wrong. That's a stress that I don't like to have on my shoulders.
Yeah, so did it give you any motivation for anything after being on the show?
Definitely motivation for sure, and the gratification to know that that's what drew all these people to look at what I'm doing, and that's every artist's dream. I think there is to have an audience. You can't ask for more than that. From there, you gotta work for it.
Exactly. So true. So many people want to get on RuPaul's Drag Race nowadays that it's almost become super competitive.
It's
Do
so
you
popular of a show. I want to get back on it. Are you kidding? Wow.
do you find that, queens that maybe you were friends with before or people that you meet now treat you with a little different attitude than they did before because you were on RuPaul's Drag Race? Any shadiness or anything any better?
Uh, well, I mean, definitely there is a stigma to the RuPaul girls. Everywhere we go, it's something that follows us. But it's up to you to stay with your feet down to earth, and it's all on how you treat people. Yeah, it's up to you. You become a diva, but I don't think it's something necessary these days. Your talent should prove everything.
Yeah.
Everyone, I don't see any. The only difference in the treatment is that people that I don't know or see every day get to see so much of me. I wish I could get through everyone. And know as much of them as they know about me. That's the only thing that's changed. But I'm only one person.
Yeah,
As as for the queens, because I think that was included in the question. As for other queens, I'm rather learning from them. So I try to draw that line and put myself in the place I am. I don't think of myself any better than anybody.
do you find that with some of the other RuPaul's queens that you've worked with that they, you know, not to maybe name any names, but do you feel that anybody, gets really big-headed about it and changes their personality a lot after being on the show?
Actually, that's not something I can speak about because those girls I usually don't hang around. So anybody who I'm around with, we're pretty much in the same mentality. We're doing the work we're doing for, in a serious way. We're not getting caught up into this fame game.
That's good. That's good.
Now with
All
how
right. So here's the question from Dragaholic Deb, who is the assistant editor here at Dragaholic, and she wants to know where did you get your drag name from, and can you actually dance the cha-cha?
yes, actually this past week I was training for a performance with my choreographer, I would say he is, and I had to actually do the cha-cha dance. I was like, I've never done it, so now I can the actual ballroom of cha-cha dance, which is very complicated. Um, what was the other part of the question? I'm sorry. Where my name came from, right?
The first part was, where does your drag name come from?
Someone gave me that name. Someone gave me that name. They said, well, you're pretty girly. pretty beautiful in drag. Why not? This name is nice, but you're really loud and energetic. So it's kind of a combination of what I would consider, a beautiful name, and then some sort of musical attachment to it, or something that speaks of high energy, like the cha-cha dance, which is a fast-paced dance, right?
Yeah, definitely. So with your name out of drag as a boy, with people recognizing you as being Serena ChaCha, how do you react whenever people come up to you maybe in public and say, "Oh, Serena, hi, how are you?"
Actually, what people say is cha-cha, and I respond to it. I'm immune. You call me whatever you call me. You say cha-cha, I just turn around.
Have you had any strange experiences meeting fans on the street?
Yeah, all the time at work, even. I actually get pretty shy at work because if I mess up with the customer, I'm like, oh, God, I'm fired.
Do
But
they
yeah,
expect
I respond to any, people say Serena regardless. But my closest people call me by my actual name.
Do you like to go by your actual name out of drag?
Yeah, you can call me Myron. Anybody can call me Myron.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I know on like seasons one, two, and maybe three, they introduced the characters by saying, "Hi, my name is Jorge Flores, but in drag I go by Nina Flowers."
Mhm.
And then after about season three, I want to say they stopped doing that, and now they just do the drag names. So, are you happy with
It's
that
just
change?
hard. It's hard because I almost appreciate the fact that you can have this what's called a stage name. You can isolate yourself from it and really treat it as a character or something you do. Once you have one name, you're kind of um, that's when you've signed up for you've married to this game, because out in and out of character there you're not going to feel any different. So it's nice to be able to isolate it and separate it. Myron works doing makeup, Serena goes to perform. I like that division.
That's true.
It sounds
That's
good
true.
to me.
Okay, so another question we have is it comes in on Twitter, and this one is from Joey Comely again, and he wants to know, with traveling after the show and getting to perform in different cities, what
Mhm.
is your favorite city or venue that's booked you since? Getting a facial right now from the dog.
um God, the best place I've been to, I think, the best club I went to was Oil Can Harris in Texas. It's
Oil
so
Can
I think
Harry's?
it's close. It's like really close, or somewhere in the area where there is a military base. So all you see is these gorgeous men in uniform while you're in drag. I mean, you can't ask
So
more than
it's
that.
it's
These
in
are the kind of people that come up and tip you.
in San Antonio, then I'm assuming,
Is it San Antonio? I think it's San Antonio.
because I know they have the air base
It's
out
so
there.
off on the map. But that was the best
So did
place.
you find yourself a nice military man to
Let
cha-cha
me
with?
let me just say, somebody tipped $100, and it wasn't that they just handed it to me. They went down my bra. So they felt pretty entitled because I was like, oh, all right. And, mention you, I wasn't thinking it was big money or anything. But then I understood. I was like, oh, I don't know if this meant anything or I was supposed to do anything, but I was really thankful for the tip. I even tried to
Do
bring
you
somebody in the dressing room with me, to hang out. And they're like, no, you can't bring anybody back there. I was like, oh, and these men are forbidding me. What's going on here?
bring them into the dressing room to hang out with, huh?
I mean, what's the difference? I wear uniform. They wear uniform.
All
Boy just
right.
counted.
We have a good question that came in right now from KDP on Twitter, and she wants to know, what is your biggest accomplishment thus far?
Hi, Katie. My biggest accomplishment has been to go back home to my country and hit the news. That was a dream come true. I remember crying the first time, receiving phone calls for something that in the beginning I thought would have to be hidden from the public and my close relatives and people back home. To be welcome, with such props has been the biggest accomplishment, and to be compared to somebody like RuPaul in a place like Panama and in Latin America in general, because that it's so much smaller amongst our audience.
Yeah,
We're
definitely.
right here, expanding down there and having those doors open, not just a guest doing drag, but somebody working on television down there has been really, really an accomplishment. I don't think it could happen so fast.
Yeah, with being on the show, and as you mentioned earlier, your family was pretty accepting with you coming out of the closet. So with being on the show, did they know prior to the show that you were doing drag, or was it kind of like, hey, surprise, I'm going to be on reality
I have to
TV?
warn them. That can cause a heart attack in a Latin person. So I said, let me prepare my parents. Plus, somebody had to take me to the airport.
How'd they react?
Well, no, I wasn't there with them watching it, but all I remember is getting all these sweet notes from them. They're pretty proud.
So they did watch the show?
Yeah, they did. I
What were
remember
the
mom when I was leaving. My mom goes, "Oh no," that's all I heard.
what were their feelings and reactions to, your portrayal on the show?
Well, my mom speaks little English. She was happy the whole time. My dad, however, on the other end he's like, "Oh wow, this is what you really want to do, right?" I was like, "Yeah." Is that enough proof or what?
So you want to go and do drag full time?
Full time when it can buy me a house, I will. Why not?
So okay, we have actually a comment, and it comes from Deborah again, who's our assistant editor here at Dragaholic, and oh, excuse me, she said Kelly Mantle just texted her about the comment you made earlier about wanting to fuck Kelly Mantle,
Okay.
and
And
she
you know
said
what's the follow-up to that?
that Kelly Mantle says, "Tell that loca I dig her song and music video a lot."
Oh, send her much, much, much love.
So, what was that? The music video I shared on the article page. So I'm curious, you produced and created all of that yourself?
Actually, I have to send a huge thank you to Will Envy. That was actually the creator and producer of the ChaCha mix. It was a project we worked on together. We wanted basically a some sort of tool that would put Serena, in the commercial world as a character, being for the first time displayed in RuPaul's Drag Race with the history and what made Serena the character I am now, but in the music. And thanks to B Ames also for producing such an awesome track.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a couple more questions before we go. We've got only about 3 minutes. If anyone has any last minute questions, you can tweet them to us on Twitter at Dragaholic News. All right, so let's see. We have a question again about makeup. What makeup tips do you have for any queens out there who are just starting out in drag?
Hmm. What's another thing I noticed that's going on around a lot is when people are wearing contacts. As I always tell people, depending on how bright the contact you wear, that's how strong your makeup should be. Otherwise, you fall apart and you can look like this zombie walking around with these bright eyes. So whatever contact colors you're choosing, try to use that as an inspiration to really propel your makeup and take it to a much higher level. I wear bright blue ones. If I didn't have the right makeup, I'd look like a zombie. So a lot of black and white with those. A lot of contrast. That's all it's needed.
Yeah, I remember Coco Montrese on your season used to wear those really bright blue contacts in and out of drag. So it really lit up her
It makes
face.
sense. Doesn't it make sense if if your eyes are that blue, your black must be super black, your white must be super bright. It's everything.
So we have a follow-up question. Earlier you mentioned Lanacia Sparks. If you did, All Stars would be the person you would want to be partnered with. Here's kind of the opposite question. If you were cast on All Stars, who would you absolutely not want to be partnered with at all?
God, guys, why do you have to bring all that up? Who would I not want to be with? With whoever the winner of the season would be. I would throw her down the stairs. I'm not even gonna say names.
Why is that? Why would you not want to be with the winner?
Because I need to shine by myself. I don't need to have her around and outshine me. That's how I get kicked off.
Do you feel like with if you weren't partnered with someone, that it would have partnered with someone you worked well with, in the instance of Pandora Box and Mimi I'm First, that you would,
Didn't work well, is that what you said?
yeah, someone who, Pandora wasn't happy with being partnered with Mimi. If you were partnered with someone, do you think you'd be able to overcome that?
I will overcome anything. Once you're in All Stars, oh my God, pair me up with a dog. We'll make drag a dog. Who cares? Past that, you know. There has to be energy that comes out of hate and dislike that can be turned into producing strong work. That's all you have to think. You gotta get just past it, you know.
True.
Maybe with
All
Mimi.
right.
Maybe if I were with Mimi, maybe we'd do some fun stuff.
Well, this is a question that might be a little sensitive, but do you feel like the queens that have gotten some of the bad portrayals on the show, or the bad edits, or whatever you want to call it, do you feel there's a bond between those girls because of that? And how has it impacted you?
What the question is, if there's a bond between the girls that had a bad portrayal, meaning if they hang out together and they're
Well,
more.
if it's something you can kind of relate to together.
Well, here's the thing: you all make mistakes, you know, and whether or not reality is something that's portrayed like that in the medium of television. It happened. You said it. Whatever the context was, and whether or not people can feel victimized by that, I just don't. I don't get really bothered by that. You know. I said it at the time, and you need to be aware what you're seeing in front of the camera because it's what's gonna bring you back down. I don't like to get in the little cruise of, oh, they said so and so. Oh, they said, you said it. Take your responsibility. That's all.
They can't make you say something you didn't say, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least so far, I can say I remember every single word that came out of my mouth filming with them. So,
Yeah. And here's a really good question, actually, and it probably is going to be our last question. But whenever earlier in the year there was polls going out about RuPaul's Drag Race season 7 and who people wanted to see on it, and your name popped up quite often as, because of the way you've evolved, as someone who maybe could pull a Shangela and pop out of a box. Have you submitted a tape for the show since your season again? And
that runs in my mind too. I can't answer that question, but you know, let's hope I make it back at some time. You know, and thank you for that. That's flattering that people want to see me back on there. Let's see
yeah.
what happens.
All right, one quick last question that came in from Alex and Delilah on Twitter.
Hi, Delilah.
This one's asking about having a kai kai. Have you ever slept with someone in drag, or not necessarily a kai kai, just have you ever slept with someone in drag? And if so, oh wait, she has two different questions. So, have you ever slept with someone in drag?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
How was that
Let's just
experience?
say it's complicated. I wear a lot of padding. Um, and you know, there's just a lot going on, you know.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience, I could imagine.
I mean, all I worry about is the hair. Let me just tell you that. As long as it's pulled back and I can wear it again, I'm happy with the rest.
You don't take the hair off. They want you to leave it on.
There's all kinds of stuff happening.
All right. So that's all the time we have for now. I want to say thank you to everyone who joined us live for the event. You can watch the recording
To everyone.
again and check back what you missed. It'll be live shortly after. One last shout out to Shooting Star Management for helping set this up. If you want to book Serena to come to your town, reach out to Shooting Star Management online. And Serena, again, we can follow you on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all the social
Yes,
places.
follow me through all the social media. You just have to type in Serena ChaCha. Also, if you're preparing for Halloween, please visit my website and order a wig. You will be so happy with the product. We shipped everywhere, worldwide. There's somebody who ordered a wig from the Maldives. I was really thankful. Shout out to La Quesa's Drag Queens. It's actually a friend of mine from Panama living there. She's pretty happy with the product. So if you guys have any inquiries, I custom make the product myself, so it's coming from these hands. You will get everything you need from there. So just email me for inquiries or whatever it is.
Good. You said you have a website. What is that?
Website is actually my guy name. It's myronmorgan.com. You can see everything I have there.
Okay, perfect. Great.
Link. Also, thank you so much to Dragaholic News for putting this together. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, it is my day off, so it's nice to actually get to talk about these things and be able to be completely sober and engage in conversation about drag, which there's so much to it. So hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And actually, it's funny, we've talked a lot about Lanacia Sparks this whole hour, and in 2 weeks on the 27th, Lanacia will be joining us for our next Ask Me Anything.
Yes, everybody. Actually, I'm going to send in some questions. How about that?
There you go. You can.
Yes,
Tweet them to us. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you,
See you
Sam.
soon.
Bye.